we discuss children, and we talk about everything family. So welcome again. If you're just joining us, this is where we come every last Saturday of the month. And because the month of June, we are celebrating the fathers, we have decided to dedicate the June edition of Family Meeting to our fathers. And this is why we have the fathers, the unsung heroes, and unspoken sacrifices. If you're going to agree with me, you will know that fathers need to be celebrated more than we are celebrating them. They need to, and that's why every year, when we have the Women's Day, International Women's Day, we have the Mother's Day, we have the Girl Child Day, they're like, how many times? And to make it worse, we have Mother's Day celebrated. The British have their own, and I think the Americans have their own. And we Nigerians, we don't even know where we fall. So we are saying Happy Mother's Day when the Britons are doing theirs, and we are saying Happy Mother's Day when the Americans are doing it. So it seems as if it's so much. We celebrate the mothers a lot of times more than we pay attention to the fathers. And so this is the reason why we are doing it. We all know that for a family, there's no family without a father. When we talk about there's no family without a father, it is also because I work with a divorce community called the Sunshine Hub. We also realize, working with these people, we also realize that for every divorced lady or single mothers, there's also the need to bring in a father figure for their children. It is just for you to know that one cannot survive without the other. And when we talk about the fathers, fine, we have some that are not doing, or they're not playing their roles the way you want them to play it. But I believe that if we come to that place of understanding, we will just give them some grace. And you might not be able to give grace to some husbands or some fathers that you see around you if you don't really understand what they go through. And this is part of the reasons why we want to talk about this. And so on this show with me, I have Mr. Teajay Chunu. Mr. Teajay has been here severally on this platform. And admin, can you please, Mr. Teajay, are you there? Teajay, are you there? I can see him here.
Very much, yeah. Yeah, I'm
Hi
very much here. Good
TJ.
evening.
Hi TJ. Good evening. How are you? Where is TJ? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Good to see your face. Yeah, so I have TJ in the room, and I have Mr. Akinola Akinropo. Mr. Akinola Akinropo is also in the room right now. Yeah, I can see him waving. Thank you very much, Mr. Akinropo, for joining. Thank you so much. And
Good evening,
without
Dr.
waiting
Ebu.
so much, yeah, thank
Mr.
you.
TJ, how are you doing, sir?
I'm so excited to have the two of you in the room today, and I know that it's going to be an impactful one. And so I indulge everybody that is on the show. Please, when we are having our trainings, there's this thing we say.
I
When we are having our trainings, there's this thing we say, put your hand on your head and remove the cap. There's a cap on your head currently, remove the cap and just place it beside you. What that means is the knowledge, the understanding, the stereotype that you've been living your life with, can you just remove it for some moments so that you can embrace what we're going to be, the conversation we're going to be having this evening with an open mind. And this is what I want us to do. We know that there's no meeting we call like this that will have men, if it is not anything involving business, finance, and all that. But I think it is high time we create that platform and the opportunity. Is it that, can I use the word opportunity? Because the opportunity is there, but we just don't have our men show up, right? And this evening, we're going to talk about the reason why, because these are men, they're going to tell us what are the reasons why we don't really have our men out there. But before we go into that, I want the admin is going to play a video please, guys, stay tuned on this show. It's going to be an interesting one. Admin is going to play a video. Admin, I want you to play Etim Efyong's video. Please, it's an advert. It was actually an advert, but since that video came out, I was captured. I love the conversation because it was very vulnerable. And this is part of the things that men don't talk about. But he spoke every man's heart. He spoke their mind. He shared it with us. So admin, are you ready? I want you to play the Daniel Etim Efyong's Premier Cool advert.
Being a man to me is to be born with the XY chromosomes, to be born with the burden of responsibility to be provider, to be protector, to be leader. As a man, we face a lot of pressure. The pressure to be strong, the pressure to literally be invincible, to be indestructible, to keep taking, and never to give back. The pressure to be there all the time for everyone, and literally when there's no one there for you, to still be okay. As men, there's a lot we go through, and society expects you to take it. You know, they tell you take it as a man. You know, they tell you shut it all up. Don't cry, don't speak up, don't complain. My guy, share the pressure. Don't let it drown you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, admin. Thank you so much, admin. Please, I want you to drop in the chat box. What can you take out of that video? If you want us to play the video again, please let me know. But I want to read what have you taken from that video that we just watched. It's possible that some of you have seen it before. It's the Premier Cool advert. And I think Daniel Etim Efyong was very vulnerable. So I want to read in the chat box. I want to read in the chat session. What can you take from that advert? Okay, Mrs. Amaka said we should play it again. Admin, can we have it again? Can we have it again, admin? Thank you.
Being a man to me is to be born with the XY chromosomes, to be born with the burden of responsibility to be provider, to be protector, to be leader. As a man, we face a lot of pressure. The pressure to be strong, the pressure to literally be invincible, to be indestructible, to keep taking, and never to give back. The pressure to be there all the time for everyone, and literally when there's no one there for you, to still be okay. As men, there's a lot we go through, and society expects you to take it. You know, they tell you take it as a man. You know, they tell you shut it all up. Don't cry, don't speak up, don't complain. My guy, share the pressure. Don't let it drown you.
Thank you, admin. So did we get it now? So I want to read in the chat box, what can you take? What's the take home? Remember, I said you should remove your cap and drop it. So part of the removing is to see Daniel Etim Efyong as a human being and not a man. There's a tendency when someone's talking because it's a man, right? Thank you, Blessing. Blessing says the society expects the men to keep taking in all the pressures of being a provider, even when at the cost of their own needs. Let's be strong and hide their pain. Okay, let's have one. I'm glad that it is the ladies in the house that are pointing out this. So men, do you have anything to share? I want to believe, yeah, we have Adeniji, we have James, we have Olatunji, we have Ben, we have some men in the room. What do you think? We have Deji in the room. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Men are expected not to complain. Men are perceived as being weak when they speak. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. when they speak out about their fears. Share the pressure, don't let it run you. Hey, it's the mommies that are talking. Oh, daddies, can you see? Can you see? Care so much about you, right? Truly men taking a lot, but with good support system, particularly from the wife, the burden is easier to bear. Thank you so much, Bukola. The need to not be macho all the time. Thank you so much, Ayemi. Thank you so much. Okay, so while we keep having the responses in the chat, I want to call on my speakers. So I have Teajay and I have Mr. Akinropo. So I'm going to start with Mr. Akinropo. So this guy said, when you're a man, you're expected to be this, to bear the burden, to bear the responsibility, to suck it all in. And where did that understanding come in? How did we come about that? Is it that when they give birth to you, they just said, this is it? How did it all start? Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Ebon, good evening. Good evening, house. Then, of course, my guy there, Mr. TJ. Sorry, Pastor TJ. He's a pastor. Don't let him deceive. We don't want him to deceive us. He's been pastoring a teenage church.
A teenage movement.
Teenage movement, close to 25 years. So, we all know how this came into being. You know, we were born with that notion. It's part of our culture. You know, it's part of the tradition that as a man, you need to continue to being a man. You need to suck up the pressure. You are not supposed to reveal or show or demonstrate that you are being weighed down by any pressure around you. You know, that's what makes you a man. Be a man guy, be a man guy. And even when we give birth to our children also, you know, when we have boys among our children, we still have this mindset to always want to condition the mind of a boy child as being a masculine, that you have to be a boy. You know, for instance, excuse me, when the two of them go out to do something, we will always tell the boy child or the boys among them that the purpose why you are following them is so that if anyone wants to harass them, so you can come up, so that nobody will harass them. You know, your sister is weak, she's a lady, so you have to come up there. So now, then when knowledge keeps increasing or kept increasing, like about 10, 15 years ago, that was when I got to know that we have been wrongly wired, you know, to believe that everything should always go smoothly for boys, for men. Like if you are going through any challenge in life, you don't need to share it with your wife, because the moment you share those pressures, the challenging moment with your wife, that you've actually lost your headship in the home. And the moment your wife begins to query you, why did you take that decision? Why did you have to do like that? Why did you have to go into that business? You know, that is something that will happen. She's supposed to be your accountability partner. And your accountability partner is supposed to look at you straight in the face and call the bluff that, Oni, you didn't do this thing right. Why didn't you run it with me? So we believe that the moment we do that, we have lost the headship, you know, quote unquote. You know, that means we have you've allowed the woman, the wife in the house to usurp your power of authority. So we don't want that to happen. We still want to carry on that pressure, that this even when our wives even notice that the palpable pressure on you, they say, are you sure what is happening to you now? No, I'm okay. And as a result of that, some of us back in the day, you know, we took to all manners of vices, you know, we took to alcohol, we took to womanizing, all manners of addiction. You know, we took into that because of the fact that I just want to mask everything. You want to mask it. So when you come home, you don't want the pressure to be there again. So if you ask me where did it come into place. And I will say it is because the way we have been wired, the way of culture and tradition. And over time, this is something I've known about this culture and tradition. I always tell people that those people who handed over this culture and tradition to us, or the culture and tradition that was handed over to us, was not or were not without the independent variables of those people who handed them over to us. They are not independent variables of their input, their thoughts, their biases, their admirations, their preferences, their everything. So when that thing kept coming on and on, then we say it is our culture. Men don't cry in this home. Where any man that shows that sign, they say that, oh, you are not man enough. Or even back in the day, our fathers then, they even tell you, you are a bastard, that we don't even know where your mother brings you from, because no man has ever shown this trait that you are showing to us. No man has ever shown it. So let me round off this section by sharing this with us. So 2 weeks ago, I met a man, a family friend. And we were talking about food, talking about meal, talking about fruits, and the wife just told me that and Mama Sonia, don't say that her husband doesn't take a particular fruit. And I said, why? The man said, anytime he takes that some things will just come up in his face, and really that it doesn't disturb any member of his household. It doesn't prevent them from taking it. I said, oh, thank you, sir. That is what I want to hear. And I wanted to say that I hope you've not told your wife or the children not to take that particular. The man said, no. So the man now took me back that if it were to be in the olden days, that as the man of the house, as the father of the house, he will have forced the children not to eat it, the wife not to eat it, and that statement keep passing from one generation to the other. And that's why you will see, even some people still say today, that in our family, we don't eat eba. The moment we eat eba, something will swell up on our lips. In our family, we don't eat particular animal. We don't eat chicken. We don't do that. It's because that statement had been passed from one generation to generation. And any statement that you repeat over time becomes a norm. You repeat it over time, it becomes a norm. And you say that anyone who eats it, something like this will happen without any supernatural, quote and unquote now, backing it up. That thing will always happen. So in a nutshell, that thing that we inherit, right? We got it from the value state, the tradition, and the culture that was handed over to us. Even now, that some of us that we still don't like it. We still don't like it. We're preaching against it, that all these things, man up, does not exist. Jesus Christ, the perfect example of fatherhood, got to the tomb of Lazarus. He cried, even though he was still going to wake Lazarus up. He still cried. So why can't we cry if anything happens? And I ran it off by saying that the masculine that we are talking about is a combination of emotions within us. We have emotions, blood runs in our body, water runs in our body, then we have muscle. So anytime any man is saying the masculine, the man enough, I'm masculine, I'm this. The masculinity we are talking about is not about the crispiness of the body. It's not about your bones. It's not about the muscle. It's not about all those things that we say. It's a combination of the muscle and your emotions. So that is what I want to talk about here. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akinropo. I agree with you, and I believe everybody in the room will agree with me that this is like a culture that is being passed down. I would like TJ to respond to this question, to the same question. At the same time, while you are responding to this question, TJ, I want you to touch on something that Akinropo mentioned. He said something about in trying to hide all these emotions that you guys try to hide because they said don't man up, you eventually turn into vices. Why will you turn into vices that you know can destroy you, right? Instead of just manning up and being vulnerable. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about, TJ. I just want you to touch on that. And the main objective of this conversation is to help our audience understand that, see, we can't be following the culture, the laws, the principles of some old dead people and keep boxing ourselves up. That's the main objective of this conversation that we are having. Thank you very much, TJ. I yield the mic to you.
So thank you so much, Ebon, and good evening, everyone. And most importantly, I'm excited that we're having this conversation for fathers. And thanks to all the wonderful women who responded when the men, as usual, kept silent here. And it's good to see my brother Akinropo. I see that the hair is growing more on your side than my side. Thank you so much.
Don't be intimidated.
No. This me being vulnerable anyway. So interestingly, I shared this in my class group. I wish some of my classmates, I don't know if they're here. Growing up, before I just answered that question, growing up, I was not one of those men that will suck it up. I was not one of those men. You flog me, I'll cry. Fortunately for me, I was born amidst 3 girls. So my emotions found expression because they were my close association, growing up. And should I say, furthermore, fortunate or unfortunate, we were in a compound where our neighbor had about 5 girls and 1 guy. I had 2 elder brothers and they were distant. So it was 2 guys and like 8 girls getting to learn life. And all the things we did, danced around, the things that the girls did. So I'm emotional. I cry. Yeah. I cried till like recently, whenever something gets to me. So sometimes when they say suck it up and be a man, I try to understand what that means. But going to answer your question about how come, how did it get here? If we look at history, you want to go back to the beginning, where God created man, and man was first to arrive. So by default and by that understanding, man took the lead. But that lead was misconstrued and it further degenerated to what we have now. So I believe the man was created to take the lead from the family, which leads into society. However, that is different from our roles and our function. But then as, time went from the Roman Empire, from ancient Greece to even as close as the 18th century or so, the Victorian era in British, that was even where there was a stronger definition for the gender. And women were expected to take care of the children, take care of the family and all that. And men, especially the men led the Industrial Revolution. So men were doing a lot more tougher jobs. So those oil drilling, the exploration was meant because they were physically capable to do that. So that gradually, with all that had been coming before that traditionally, now just kind of cemented in our subconscious that the reality is that men are to be tough, men are to be hard. There's a whole lot of hard work there and all that. And the women should do the minor, menial kind of things. So as that went on, men had to be, because of the toughness of the jobs and responsibility of men to create a pathway for society, men were given that honor, and the woman was seen to take the menial or softer jobs like cooking and all that. But before the Industrial Revolution, the women actually were very much involved in ensuring that agriculture prospered. So the women were also, in their own way, very enterprising. But like I said, because of the nature of development that rested on the strength of men. So man's masculinity was used to define him above the woman. And then as we progressed in life, like Akinropo said, there was not necessarily transference of knowledge, because transference of knowledge would have involved one generation teaching with critical thinking. That means the generation they are thinking are engaging in conversations. But it was more of just pouring down, and we just accepted. So questions were not asked. And when information, we got into the information era, people started learning more about who they are. They became more aware. They were now questioning things. Those who were pouring down really didn't have an answer. And that is part of what, not entirely, or what gave room to vices. Because at that time, a lot of men were confused with their emotions. They felt them, they don't know how to express them. The only way to cope was to, turn to vices. So vices was a coping mechanism, not because men subjectively wanted to become menace to society. It was just a coping mechanism for some men. And then you know what happens when there's a little tear in the cloth and it's not stitched in time? It tears beyond, and then someone will take it as, with all due respect, in those days, if your jean tears a bit, you can't wear it. Right now, your jean tears, I don't know how people do that thing, no? They will just see them, the whole jeans is torn, and they call it fashion. That's what happens, when there was a little dent there, when vices, nobody knew how to manage it. Then it now became that this is the norm for men. So men see turning into this as the right channeling of whatever they feel. Some, turned it into, abuse, physical abuse and all that, and so much more. But this is not still yet an excuse for the demand you're seeing in men. I don't know if I answered your question. You're muted. You're muted, Ebon.
Okay, thank you. I think it's the earpiece I'm using that is not working. Okay, so thank you very much, TJ, for taking us through the etymology of hello. So thank you for taking us through that journey. I really appreciate it, because we really need to understand the roots of some of the things we do. And if we're able to think about it, understand it from the root point, then you'll be able to know if you should continue or you should drop some of the things you are doing. And I remember when we started this conversation, I said something about conditioning and patterning. We're still following some of the things, those rules that were laid by some old dead men who, when they were even living, when they were here, they did not even invent lights. They did not even know what a phone is, with their archaic way of thinking, and we're still following the rules. I'm not saying we should abolish those laws, because even the good man that came said he did not come to abolish it. But I think we can move away from those understanding and try to live our life differently. Like I said when we started this conversation, I said I work with a community of divorced men and women. And when we start having conversation on that platform, you see women pointing blame, saying they're men. And by the time we hear a man talk, we're like, really? So you people also go through such pain? And at times I'll just be like, who created all this confusion for us? Because it just left us to be fighting and having misunderstanding. And if we can understand this, I believe we can move from there to also say that men also cry. Men also cry. And if women can understand that men also feel the pain, then we will be able to give grace to our men. I see in the chat session, Amaka is asking, who exactly is a man? Right? And if you read the comments Amaka put after that question, that's her next chat. She's asking if a single mother can be called a man. And you can see where that conversation is going in Amaka's mind. right? To say a woman who is fully responsible for the family, can we call the woman man? Right? So we're talking about the roles here. We're talking about the roles here. So when we talk about the man here, I'm still going to leave this question to the people on the platform to respond to my guests to respond to, because I really want us to talk about it. I remember on Father's Day, you know how we know how we can be now. We started playing that card of for every mother who has played the role of the mother and the father, happy Father's Day, you know. And at some point, I just came on the group because we have I said, no, please, can we celebrate the men? The ones that have the male, not the female acting the male, you know, because we need to. By the time we start bringing all this, we're making some people feel some. I'm not downplaying the fact that there are women, that their partners, their male partners are not maybe responsible or forthcoming as you wanted to be. But I want us to think about what they are going through. Can we think about what they are going through? Mr. Akinropo, I know that in the family systems engineering platform, we've talked about different things, saying that our upbringing, our significant emotional experiences, and our environment has contributed to who we all are today. And I believe for every man who we label and tag as irresponsible, that man not suck it all up. That thing that Daniel Etim Effiong just said is part of the reason that has just make some people to be boxed up. And it's not as if they don't want to do it. It's not as if they are not willing to, but somehow they just discover that the courage is not there. They just discover that they are really trying and they need to be listened to. From this standpoint, I want you to speak to the soul of the women in this room, because I know a lot of women are hurting. I want it to be about the men, the male gender, because you can say man, maybe it's a spirit, the soul is, the spirit is the man. And a female and a male can be used. I know when we're growing up, we used to call, when we're reading Bible, when pastors are preaching, they will use the man for everybody, the male and the female. It is all of a sudden that this movement started, that we started segregating and we started seeing men and women separately, right? So I want you to speak in about 3 minutes to the soul of the women, to say, see, those men, I'm sure you have worked with men, those men that you see as not responsible, that we have labeled, something has happened that has put them in that. We use, there's a statement we use, they are doing all they know based on the level of information that they have. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing this to the front burner once again. So during the last week when we celebrated Father's Day,
Yeah.
you know, don't let me re-echo what you just said now. Now we still say that there are some women who still, you know, came to the social media saying that Happy Father's Day to every woman out there who has taken the responsibility to be a father in the life of their children. You see, so I won't condemn any lady, you know, going to social media to say this. Take this for instance again. There was one forgotten the name of this guy now. Oh, okay, let me put it this way. Oh, yes, this guy, Wasabi, the guy that won this award, you know, this African movie, Magic Movie Award, the best male content creator, Layi Wasabi, right? I think Layi Wasabi, that a great guy. Okay, now, so the guy said he dedicated the award to his mother, right? So after that, people started, you know, to tag me in that comment that where are the fathers? Where are the fathers? So people will say, oh, Mr. Akinropo, this is for you. Where are the fathers? Why? How come this guy dedicated the award to his mother what was his father's doing, or what happened. And I always tell them, like we all know here, anyone who has passed through the educational and knowledge or level or institution of family system engineering certification, you will know that you don't just jump onto social media conversation like that and begin to either condemn as somebody who made a statement or even validate the statement that has been said. You don't know what has transpired. I've never been privy to the guy's life. And none of the people who actually called me and called some other people into that to debunk or to validate what the guy said had been into this guy's private life. We don't know what happened to him when he was young. We don't know what happened to the mom. We don't know what happened to the dad. So the only thing I just wrote then was like, let us celebrate this guy and his mother and let us leave it. Where the father is, who has been the father, what the father did is none of our business right now. Let us celebrate the mom and the guy, right? So the women in the house who really are doing the job of fathers in the life of their children, I doff my heart for you, and I pray that you will find true closure, that true healing that you deserve, you will receive it. So if you want to ask me, how do I know about this? I will say I am a product of a single mother. I'm a product of a single mother. My mom had to shoulder the responsibility of 3 of us alone. My sister and, four, my sister and 3 of my brothers, my elder brother and my younger brother. So my mom was the only one doing it. Fine, she had some relations around her, supporting her, but no one could fill that space, the void of having to run it alone. She is the husband, she was the father, she was the mother at the same time. Even the people around that I said, they provided the support. They were not even providing the financial support, but the emotional support. So it took somebody like me many years before I could even forgive my father, because I was old enough when some unpalatable experiences that my dad made me to go through, I was old enough to remember every one of them. But we thank God for trainings that we go through. So my advice that I want to give every woman here is, we thank you, and your children will be grateful for you. Every of the labor you have given these children, you will get those rewards, definitely here on earth and even in heaven. So on the aspect of how to handle those fathers in your family, it's not in my place to want to decide how you are going to respond. We have seen some people that will even immediately say, well, I've forgiven him, but I've moved on. And we have seen somebody who will say, I will never forgive this man in my life. And I've even told my children not to forgive, and they will never forgive. It will be over this, that, before we could forgive. So every of their position is valid enough. That is what I'm going to say. Every of their position is valid enough, because I'm not there. I wasn't there when they were hurt. I wasn't there when all those things were being meted against them. The only thing I want to say is this: regardless of your position towards the father of your children, right? Never allow any of these positions, never allow any of these emotions, let me put it that way, to affect the way you want to bring the children that are under your care up. If there is any way that you are being, the pressure is becoming too much, reach out for help. Reach out for help. Reach out for help. That is what I am going to say. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akinropo. Mr. Akinropo has given us the elderly advice on how to handle this. He said, maybe you should just move ahead. and be there for your children, regardless of if the man is there or the man is not there. And I see Teajay also saying a man is a man, regardless of what he does or he did not do. TJ, I want you to respond to that same question based on what Amaka has written. I am sure that reading Amaka's message, there's a message, there's something around this question. Who is a man? Who is not a man? When is it a man is really not a man? It's not really a man, right? In some countries, yeah, I like that last statement, saying that in some countries, women pay dowries. So you see what is coming up here to say that, so all these things, all this noise we are making, in some nations, it's not a big deal because the women are the ones that take the lead in those nations. So we see what culture is doing to us here. So
Yeah.
TJ, I want you to approach that question from this angle.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I may answer the question with a question, but I'm happy you made a statement which was aligned with my thoughts, and I think I should just adjust to that, which basically is a lot of these definitions are based on traditions or cultures. Yeah, so my response to that question is a question, maybe a series of questions. The first is, where are you asking this question from? Are you asking this question from an understanding of who a man should be? If the understanding of who man should be, the another question is, where's that understanding resting from? Is it resting on from the culture you received? Because if you're saying a man should, that means you received that from somewhere and you've used that to base your expectation. So the question now to you is, what do you expect a man to be? But let me answer the question of the man in my own understanding. So, I was just trying to write and draw something here. I wish I could show everyone. So I'm a Christian and I believe God created man, male, female, man. And some of these things sometimes could be nomenclatures that confuses us. So he created man. So a man is a human being that has two genders, male and female. And the female, now, just to make this sound interesting, the female has the womb to conceive. The man doesn't have the womb to conceive. So, and this is TJ just saying that made the female the womb man. So let's throw away all these plenty things that we're using to confuse ourselves. So the woman is the man that has a womb. That's basically what I'm saying. So that means God created the human, the man, with capacity to do and undo. Therefore, the level of the wisdom of the man can equate the level of the wisdom of the woman because both of them are created as men. Okay, so it's not about, so going back to the question, she asked the question, the man fully taking care of the family. Now, if you're using that to define a man, what if the man is not married or not willing to raise a family? Is he still a man? So when it comes to taking care of the family, you are responding, you are pointing to the father figure, not the man. So I just want us to, differentiate all these things so we don't press everything into one and confuse ourselves further. So the man is the human being that it has male and female, and the female is the one that has a womb, which is the woman. And then in the family setting, you now have the husband and wife whose responsibilities are this to themselves. And then you now have the father and mother whose responsibilities are now corporately down to the children. So in that context, you can now start asking the question of the provision. However, the father and mother responsibilities are roles that the truth is any of them can play. So in my home, for instance, this thing they talk about the man being the breadwinner, and the woman here, which you could say, okay, the father is the breadwinner, the mother is the homemaker. The opposite is actually what exists in my home. My wife, like I say, my wife, she wins the bread. I own the bakery anyway, but she wins the bread. and I have the skill to take care of the home, I am more domestic than my wife. So does that make me lesser? No, we just switch roles where our strength, happens to be more. So there are roles, and then in that role, anybody can play. But our social expectation has said the man must this, the man must that, and you are doing this, putting yourself on unnecessary stress, frustrating the beauty that your family could be, because the man should, in your definition, that is resting from a faulty orientation from generations that just passed down based on their level of experience and information at that time. So the question now is, what do you want a man to be? So bringing down to my own, story here is, I don't feel less than who I am when my wife earns more than me. In fact, I'm more excited. I'm very much excited. And my wife doesn't feel less when she comes home and my son will tell her that daddy's food is sweeter than yours. She doesn't feel less. The question is, are we ensuring that the roles we have to play are being played in such a way that the home of the family is functional? I think when we look at the question from the end point, from what we desire, what we want, we can now start. It's just like, I like football. Football is an analogy that fits a lot. Sometimes you see them playing defensive and defensive is not working. Before you know, they change positions, and then the defender is the one scoring the goal, but he was hired as a defender, but he's scoring the goal. So you start to adjust based on what is functional. So I think when we are answering these questions, we should now look at our reality, what we want to create, what we desire to create, and use that picture to define how these roles. Now, this is not excusing men that are irresponsible, because that's another, I think basically that's where you're going with your question. A lot of men are irresponsible. But now think about this. How many men, how many women actually understand what we understand? I'm saying we here, you asking the question from the position you understand it. So it took my wife 6 years to understand one thing I was saying. Why? Ebun was talking about significant emotional experiences and all that. My wife never grew up with a father. So she never knew the love of a father. So she fought my love. She always saw it like, what's this guy doing? Kind of thing. It took her 6 years to get to understand, oh, he is playing the role of a father to me as well. But I couldn't force her into that reality. Forcing her into that reality will create frustrations for me and put me in the place where, before you know, there's unnecessary fight and, oh, you're supposed to be doing this, you're supposed. Does she even know if she's supposed? So I think you're asking yourself, what do I want to create? What do I want to see? You should also be asking if your partner is seeing that thing with you. If he's not seeing it, does the person need binoculars or does the person need glasses? Can we start to try to see and reason, converge our reasoning at a point before we now start putting the burden of social norms and cultural definitions in our home to frustrate it? So who is a man? Who do you want a man to be? My question to you.
Wow, this is deep, TJ. This is so deep. Thank you. I love the direction. Amaka agreed. That's deep thoughts, right? Thank you very much. That means the message has been passed across. And thank you very much, TJ, for taking us the route in the direction you've taken us through, to say that, what are your expectations? What's your end result? The children to be well taken care of, food on the table, whoever does it.
The man to be the man.
Does it matter? And the way you're even saying it, I can perceive peace of mind. Like, it can be achieved. Let's just keep the family rolling, right? But you see, this information, like I said, a lot of people do what they do based on the level of information that they have. And the information we have is what has been passed down. So a lot of us are just in autopilot. We don't even take time to process, to think about that demand. That's our expectations. maybe if we take time to think about it, maybe what we are expecting will be different. And I love the fact that you came with that caveat of, okay, so we're not excusing the so-called irresponsible men. We know they exist, right? But Teajay, I just want you to say something about those men. Do you think they're doing what they're doing intentionally? Don't you think that conditioning has just boxed them up, and they probably have been called useless right from time? They have probably have been told nothing good can come out of you, and they have just sucked it in. What do you have to say about that? Can we bail some of those men out this night so that we start seeing them from another lens?
Wow, that's a tough one, because I think we all are guilty. We all are guilty, and in as much as we all are guilty, we are not, what's the word? We are not intentionally we did not intentionally choose to become a nuisance. So how do I mean? I mean, we all are guilty because we are part of the problem. We contributed some way, but we're not intentionally becoming a nuisance, because every time we get to learn a thing, sometimes there's this trick the mind plays on us. We think that is all there is to know at that time. I want to think about simple things. So let me use something that's way off this conversation. When BlackBerry came, I was one of those people that advocated people to remain with their Nokia Touchlight and all that.
Okay.
That BlackBerry was a distraction. I was like I was almost sounding like these end of days preachers that, once you get in, this is going to suck your soul. It's going to distract you. You need to stay focused and all that. And guess what? On my birthday, somebody bought a BlackBerry and gave to me. That was the last time I ever
talked about it. The message changed.
Good. The strength of my message was fed with deep ignorance. But I didn't know I was ignorant. I sincerely wanted to save people from distraction. But I was deeply ignorant of the realities. When I got BlackBerry, in fact, I did not just get, I bought for people who I felt needed it. And then, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you now see the cook more than your wife. My wife is trying to distract me here with something. You don't know what's in front of me. In case my thoughts are shaking. So we just feel per time that we know so much. So it's just like, when the light goes off right now. Yes, you have a good idea of your house, but if you notice, gradually you start to see even in the dark. And you're now mistaking that for sight. Try running. Guess what will happen? You'll kick on something that may break your toe. So we all get to this point in our lives where we are sedated with a false reality that makes us keep going. And when people are telling us this is wrong, we don't see it. But we are sincerely trying to push for what is right. And a lot of men operate in that place. Their egos has been so sedated with the orientation of what it means to be a man, be macho and masculine. It's be sedated with the social consciousness and narratives going on, that anything they think or feel to do that is less of that disdains the authority of what it means to be a man. It disdains the all that comes, the esteem they get from holding that high. And then they start to function and drill more and become such menace. And the truth is, like I said, they don't know. as a Christian, permit me to jump into scriptures a bit. I like when Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. You know, if God himself knows that sometimes we don't get sense in worry, balance, you know, why do we force people? So we find out that a lot of men are damaging things more from a damaged orientation. That's basically what's happening. And it's hard to say, I don't know. It's hard to say, I'm sorry, because all we have known is void of sorries and is void of being vulnerable, because that is seen as being weak. So for the man listening to me, hey, look at me. I'm just like you. I have actually messed up, I think, much more worse than you. I have fought people I shouldn't fight. I fought my family because I thought I was in love. You know, someone says when you're in love, you become a poet, a wonderful poet. But when you're out of it, you become a deep thinker, a philosopher. You know, so I've been in that place, and we have done a whole lot of things as men. But my true joy and my true freedom to live the authentic me came from where I learned to open up and say, hey, I need help. There's no human that doesn't need help. The moment you think that you're above help, you started digging 6 feet. And guess what? No one will even come for the funeral. So this is me just asking you to, tonight, just let's go. Breathe in and see all that you are. And then exhale and see the best part of you. And reach out to say, hey, I really do need help. Even our President Tinubu needs help too. He knows that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, TJ. Everybody needs help. And vulnerability is actually strength. It's not a weakness.
Yes.
Because you choose to be vulnerable, you're leaving that place, or that place where you're hiding, to say, hey, here am I. Please help me. Vulnerability is strength. It's not a weakness. If you pay attention to what we have been saying, we're saying that, can we snap out of the old method that we used to know, because it's not working. It's just destroying us the more. And that's the expression of that's the expression that TJ gave when he was talking about the ripped jean. Can we not continue to wear our ripped jean, and we are just with akko? In Yoruba, we'll say you're wearing it in a shako way, you know, but you're hurting, things are not going on well. Can we just do that instead of embracing vices? Because it will not help. It will not help. It will destroy. You know, TJ just said that. It will damage us more. It will just destroy things the more. Recently, I started working with a 64-year-old woman, and she's the first daughter of an 86-year-old mother. And we just discovered that something happened when she was 28, and that was the last time she had allowed her mom access to her, you know, and things are just going down the lane. Like, can we just not destroy ourselves? Instead of, can we just be vulnerable and open up? Because all these things we see happening all over, all this damage, all these things going on social media, all these children misbehaving up and down, it's from somewhere, because they are seeing what you are doing, and the parents are the home is the first socialization center of a child. And whatever your children see, that's what they do. I'm sure we're all adults, and we know that if you want to be real with yourself, you want to take time to think about things going on around you, you will see one extended family or even neighbor or a family sample around you that you know that, this man, maybe he would have done it better. And you're also talking about it. Can you also embrace that better that you think somebody would have done? And don't say you're hurting the lady, because as you're hurting the lady, you're not only hurting the lady, you're destroying yourself, you're destroying your children, and you're destroying your family. Oh, she's not listening, she's not this, she's not that. Yes, I know we can be like that at times, right? But can you turn? Did you hear TJ saying that his wife, it took her 6 years to understand that I'm showing you love, dear. I'm showing you love, madam. Understand it. But she didn't understand it. She wasn't seeing it. But when she saw, and it was because TJ was persistent, TJ would have just said, excuse me, I'm showing you love. What's that? And just let it go and just throw it to her face and leave it. But he was persistent, right? So are you showing love in the way you understand? Maybe you need to understand, you need to love your partner the way she wants you to be loved. And ladies, maybe your husband wants you to show them love in a particular way. You can't show people, you can't express love to people the way you want to be loved. You need to understand how your partner wants to be loved. Then you can show them love that same way. Some men don't like it. They're coming in from the office and you just give them side eye, bombastic side eye, like, and you don't know what that guy has gone through. And you're saying, regardless of what he has gone through, he should just come home and smile. I'm going to be 48 and I'm beginning to understand some of the things her parents went through growing up. Like, oh, at times I will go back to while I was growing up and I'll be like, oh, so this was what mommy was going through that time. Oh, so this was what daddy was going through that time. And somehow I'll just be like, Kai, these people tried, oh, and we didn't know it. We didn't know it. Can we start paying attention? Can we start being intentional in our relationship? Because that is the only way. Otherwise, we'll just be hurting ourselves. Before we know it, cancer will come. Before we know it, prostate cancer, prostate will come for men. And that age, you'll be like, what's all this? This old age that we're supposed to be enjoying ourselves. We have fought, disagreed, and had arguments and abused and all that, We have used that to push. Can you imagine the old couples going on, having divorce now? Stories, 35-year-old marriages. What happened? What happened? Can we stop sweeping all these things under the carpet and face it? Can we talk about it? Can we confront it? Men, because please, can we drop our guards and just talk about it with our ladies in the house? And ladies, if you're here and your husband is trying to get your attention and you're still doing, this is how my mommy did it, this is how they are saying we should do it on social media. See, there's a group on Facebook. I tell everybody, you have to exit that group if you are there. Female in Niger, I don't know that group, the kind of things they talk about on that group. I tell every lady I have the opportunity to talk to, if you're on that group, exit. Because it's a movement. And that movement is destroying a lot of homes. That movement is clouding our lenses and it's not helping us to see our male gender, our male counterparts as human beings who can make mistakes. Right? So I really appreciate this conversation this night. And Mr. Akinropo, I'm just going to ask that you talk around. I have questions that I wrote down, but I like this direction that this conversation is going. Mr. Akinropo, I just want you to touch on, how do you think, so we have been begging the men, we have been begging the women. This is family meeting. That's why it's called family meeting. How do we talk in family meeting? If not coming to our level to say, see, you cannot afford to break your marriage. Oh, please. You know how those older women would do it, right? This is what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to say that, Mr. Akinropo, how do you think men should manage some of those things? I've said they should be vulnerable, they should open up. What are the things you think men are also doing that they're not really doing well, that and you want to talk about it, to say, see, okay, what time do you close? This is how you do it. Also know that this woman, know if she's a full-time housewife, she has gone through so and so from morning till afternoon. By the time you're also coming in, just come in, because you are coming to meet human being, not robots in the house. I yield the mic to you, Mr. Akinropo.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ebru. And I must commend TJ for shedding light, in some areas that we've been shining away so far. And let me take a cue from a line from your submission. That line is, you don't love a woman, or you don't love your partner the way you think you want to love the partner. You must be able to love your partner the way your partner wants to be loved. I think that is very, very profound, very, very paramount. And I want every body, every one of us to have that as one of our takeaways here. So that's why I'm starting, right? So what should men do, or let me start from what I think we are doing, that we think we are doing right. Okay, again, TJ was talking about not every man, as Irali said it, that chooses to want to be naughty, want to be nuisance, right? Not every man chooses to want to do that. But I still believe that we are all products of our early emotional life. So the way we are products of who raised us, the fathers, the uncles, the aunts, and the brothers, siblings around us. So we literally brought the way we were raised into our marriage. And the same way we want our partner to accept us, to take us, no. So why TJ was saying that no one is intentionally wants to be a nuisance in the society. And another thought quickly came that, fine, no one is intentionally wants to be a nuisance, but regardless of our unintentionality, I don't know if there is a word like that, we will not be excused, right, from the consequences of our action.
Hmm.
We will not be excused from the consequences of our actions. There were many actions I took in time past, many mistakes that I've taken in time past, unintentionally. I didn't intentionally, purposely go into that mistake. But hey, by the time the consequences of those mistakes came up to me, I bore it, man. I faced it, not me alone even facing it. My children faced it, my wife faced it. So everybody will face that consequence. So how do men minimize or mitigate, right, all those mistakes, errors? It is, first of all, every man should subject themselves or himself to scrutiny. How do you do that? Who are you? All right, let me start from who were you? Who were you answers to what are the products? Who are those people in your life? Who are those people in your life when you were growing up? What were the predominant features in the life of those people who raised you? What were the predominant actions? Who was the leading figure, the leading father figure? Is it your dad or your uncle? So any one of them who was the leading figure when you were growing up, what were the predominant factors around that man? What were those things that man used to do? So if care is not taken, the way those men, those people who raised us did back in the day, we are going to do the same thing because we are so subconscious smart about it. We don't need to be told again on how to shut down on our wives. We don't need to be told on how to shut down on our children. We don't need to be told on how to think less or look less of our partner. It is inbuilt. It is inbuilt. So I began with my story the other time, right? When I was growing up from my dad, I've never seen it. I've never seen my dad, appreciate any one of his wives. You know all those things now. Oh my God, look at this hair. Your hair is fine today. Come, let me give you a hug. Nothing. No conversation at all. But thank God, when I left him at age 18, I moved to another place whereby my uncle, whereby I saw the way my uncle, rolled around his two wives. The way he would play around them, cuddle them. Oh, my baby is beautiful today. Oh, it's your room, I'm going to sleep. In fact, for the next 1 month, I'm going to be in your room. So to me, that was like culture shock. So does it mean that a man can be this romantic? Because my dad never behaved that way to any of his wives. He always maintained a straight face. So, but there was a shift when I moved to my mom and I saw the way that my uncle, my mom's elder brother, behaved to his two wives, right? So that thing shifted. So the first thing I would want every man listening to this, that they will still going to watch it later, to do is first off, scrutinize who you are. Submit yourself to an accountability partner. Get a coach, get a mentor, and do a periodic marital check. If you are married, do a periodic marital check, because you can't always know, right, whether your wife is taking the love you are giving, the way she feels you should give it unto me. But let me give an example, and this is where, and I'm going to end this so that I don't just extend it, this conversation beyond what is required of me. Take, for instance, there will always be like, personality. It's possible that the two partners, husband and wife, don't share the same personality trait. It's possible, like, okay, the husband is a creative convertible. We are like, we always make things happen, and the wife is like maybe dependable truck, or a combination of two. Whether you say, I love you, your wife may feel that, it doesn't matter. Whether you buy something for me, it doesn't matter. Whether you are actually connecting, it doesn't matter. They may not complain. And it is possible that a man would think he's doing the right thing to the wife, but the wife is not responding. The wife is not responding. That does not necessarily mean that the wife accepted everything that you are giving. So if you don't know the personality makeup of your partner, it's going to be difficult for you to know whether you are truly loving that partner or not. The wife, by her nature, doesn't want to complain. She just wants to suck it up with it. It doesn't bother. It doesn't move in. It doesn't move her. Whether you love her the way she wants to be loved, it doesn't move her, because she too perhaps does not know her makeup. Meanwhile, the wife is hemorrhaging, bleeding internally. She's not feeling the vibe of the marriage. You are just there copulating, the children are there, and the husband feels that I am giving the money, I am buying you new cars, I am doing what I'm supposed to do. But this woman is not being loved the way she would love it. So neither the two of you, or either of the two of you, knows what you are actually giving. So, but periodic marital check will reveal all these deep secrets. The wife, when the two of you now go for the periodic marital check, the wife will now get to know that, oh, this is my makeup, and I did not know. And the husband will think that, and I've been doing all this, I didn't know. I've seen this happen before in many homes. So the first one is, know who you are, who were you, what were the people who raised you, then where are you going, what are you becoming, who are you becoming. So when you know where you're coming from, then you know who you are becoming. The answer will not be, what must you begin to do for you to achieve or to know what you are becoming, for you to know the road. Because without you knowing what has happened in the past, there is no future. So that's number one. Then the number two there is periodic marital check. Because it is possible, I, as a man, I don't know that I am hurting my wife, because I don't know how to love my wife. Meanwhile, my wife too, by her personality trait, does not know how to express herself that I don't like this, because she thinks that if she says that she doesn't like this, the husband may just take it anyhow. So periodic marital check will always fizzle all this out. I think we shared this thing. Somebody shared it. I don't know whether it's you, Dr. Ebu. who shared it on our platform that a man who is maybe 75 or 80, 83 years old divorced his wife, and the wife is 65. And what was on account of what? That the man wanted, to go many rounds as possible, as if it was still in his youthful age. But the woman said, no, okay, at what age will I want to give you all those wrongs, right? But guess what? Earlier before that time, if they had subjected themselves to marital check, all those things will have fizzled out. They will have known how sex was introduced to the woman. The woman may not like it, but just because they just needed to bring forth children, she was just cruising on. And at 65, she just felt that, oh, I am okay. What again are we looking for? But Baba, Adababa Shinle, the man is still feeling drunk anyhow. And the man felt that, no, this thing has to be given. So these are the things periodic marital check will really solve. It is not within our context here to begin to say these are the things men need to do to please their wife, because women differ. Women differ. Like somebody posted something on Facebook a few days ago that should farting and snoring be enough reason to scatter a marriage. People said, on Facebook, now people said, no, it's not enough. It's not enough. Oh, if you love your wife, if you love yourself, farting or snoring shouldn't be. And I just got in there that this is neither here nor there. What destroys marriage differ from family to family. There are some families who think that if my husband snores, it doesn't move me. But there are some women or there are some men who will not like it. When you snore like this, they want to stop you to death. Please cover your mouth. So it is not for us to know or to want to say these are the things men should do. What I would say here is, men, study your wife. Wife, study your husband. And give the two of you what the two of you truly deserve. Thank you, Dr. Ebu.
Awesome. This is so beautiful. Guys, if you agree with me that this is worth our time, can I see in the chat box, can we just celebrate our guests this evening? Let's show some appreciation. Thank you very much, Mr. Akinropo, for that, for taking us in that direction. Mr. Akinropo has said a lot. He said something about, regardless of your unintentionality, you will not be excused, because for every choice we make, there is a consequence. And so as you are making some choices, as we are saying, oh, maybe they did not know, maybe something happened and all that, as you're also behaving, because I'm sure some people will be raising it. Maybe your wife is raising it and you just feel her mouth is smelling. Always know that there is a consequence to this. And he said something about, who are you? Who are you before the situation is defining you to you? Who were you? When I'm having conversations with ladies who are married and things are not going on well, I try to remind them that, where's that girl that was competing to be head girl in primary 6? Where's that lady that wanted to have a 2-1 and was wants to study medicine? That thing. Where are you? Marriage is marrying your life. You are still a constant in a relationship. The marriage should not dictate who you should be. No, you should bring your fullness into a marriage. A lot of times we think he should come with his half cup. Me too, I should come with my half cup. No, we should both come with our full cup, and we enjoy the overflow. You enjoy his overflow. He enjoys your overflow, right? So who are you? Who raised you? I think we should all think about these questions. Who raised you? Do you want the results of the people who raised you? If you don't mind the results of the people who raised you, then fine, continue with those things that we are talking about. But if you think their result is not what you want, then can we talk about, can we work on it? like I said the other time, a lot of us were just in autopilot. We're not paying attention. We're not being intentional in our living. We have just been conditioned to live in a particular way. And Mr. Akinropo has educated us a lot this night to say, where are you going? What exactly do you want? If you don't want that result, then you need to work on now. So he's saying that it is not your fault that everything that happened to you happened, but it's your responsibility not to stay there. What do you want to do differently? What do you want to start doing differently? You are the unsung heroes. You're sacrificing a lot and we don't talk about it. It's not fair. We need to talk about it. But you see, we still desire that you take the lead. We desire that you take the lead. Can you think about it? Mr. Akinropo was saying a lot of things, and he said something about that. You came into that marriage with a baggage. Your wife is also coming with a baggage. And that's why all these things are happening. And this is why we need professionals. Please don't run away from professionals. We all need them. They will help you process. I am a professional. Teajay is a professional. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. Let's reach out to professionals. Let them help us process it. They're not going to judge you. They're not going to condemn you. Every trained person is safe space. Because part of the things we're trained to do is to let you know that we understand what you're going through. We might not be able to explain it. Your realities are different, but we understand because we have seen different examples. And so we know it. Guys, please feel free. Feel free. You need to work it out. And the next conversation we want us to have, Teajay started it when he was, Mr. Akinropo said it when he's saying that all these things we are doing, the consequences. Your parents passed it down to you. You're passing, if you don't know, you're conditioning your children also. You're conditioning. So what do you expect from your generation, the generation coming after you? And this is where we're talking about the marital checkup. We all do our yearly routine checkup. The home, the marriage we are living, it's alive. We need to keep feeding it. We need to give it life continuously. Can we also do checkup? We need to do checkup. So Teajay, I want you to talk about some of those consequences of some of the things we do that we're not paying attention to. Some of the consequences. I'm trying to drop the link. So at the center, we also have the marital checkup. If you really want to, we can walk you through it. And so I've dropped the link now. Please, let's pay attention. If you want it, you can reach out. Just fill the form. It's a form. Fill the form and we'll reach out to you. So Teajay, what are the consequences if we say, this is the way I want it? You know how you said it now, damaging things from the place of damage, and we just keep, we are damaging a lot of things. For some of us, it's in our blind spots. We just want to gratify the fulfillment of now, not paying attention. And that's what I'm talking about, intentionality, not paying attention to what's going to happen to us in the future. So I want you to talk about the consequences. Akinropo started that conversation with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Ebo. Thank you, Akinropo. I'm so happy that he took it up from where I stopped. So that we don't find room to give excuse. And I was happy, I mentioned that that's not an excuse. Thank you so much. I was so excited when you were talking. And I think also that kind of answered the question I saw on the chat by Catherine. Thank you so much. I'm learning here as we're having this conversation. Thank God it's family meeting, and thanks also to those who have stayed. So Part of the consequence, let me start to answer this question by pointing every person to the questions we have been asking. Your questions are a sign of the consequences of us not getting it right as men, women, fathers, mothers, adults, parents, whatever you want to, name it. All those questions are coming as a pointer to the consequences. So you want to look at yourself, and if you, I think Akinropo talked about doing a self analysis or evaluation, and the things, if you are sincere with yourself, things that you find that are not working, those are the best consequences to note down, because I may just tell you something that may not be relevant, but I'm going to mention a few. But when you look at yourself and you ask yourself, why is this not happening? Before pointing at your partner, before pointing at the other adults, before pointing at the opposite sex, ask yourself, what is the role I have to play or have played so far that gave us these results? Have I been too forward? Have I been too expressive? Have I been, when you are able to do that, you now ask yourself questions like, where are these coming from? And thank God that Akinropo said that. Thank God Dr. Abu said that. They are professionals that can help you walk through this trajectory to identify that. So the reason we are basically damaged is because we had people who were not. I don't want to say people who were. I don't want to make it sound as though they just intentionally just passed what has damaged us to us, because they were also victims as well. But when we do not learn, this is what happens, is that you carry a bulk of a wealthy sense of low self-esteem, if there's anything like that. You push it, you take that and make it an investment in your children. That's what happens. With constant criticisms, belittling and neglecting and all that, low self-esteem is building up. So the more your language, the more your words are belittling, are negative in direction, what happens is that you are investing in low self-esteem. That's one thing. So you ask yourself, a lot of people say this about Nigeria and Africa, the way we were raised, about the rod and beating the children and all that. And I keep on saying, if we have really beaten sense into our children, why are we not the smartest in the world? Why have we not beat innovation into them? The average black man still feels inferior to the white man. The average black man. Where does that come from? You see, so all these things, this is what he has done. It has crippled our sense of identity. We've lost it. It's crippled our esteem, that we feel that we are secondary. And you don't know what I'm talking about. A white man comes into a space where we are. The next thing you see, everybody's adjusting and trying to speak like him and all that. In the same place where a black man with more qualification came into and you ignored. So you see, all these are part of the consequence. And see how it played out in the society. It started from the home, started from you as an individual, not being responsible, like Akinropo said, not being intentional to take responsibility for growth. Look at what has happened to the society. The society didn't just happen. The society happened from homes that were dysfunctional. And the homes were led by adults like you and I that were also very dysfunctional and didn't seek for help. So there are emotional difficulties. Children may develop anxiety, depression, and all that. Just this morning in Warri, somebody jumped from the flyover. How did we get there? How did we not create the environment where people know that they can speak and get help? And when you say you're going to see a therapist, it's almost like this person don't follow, and the person now starts feeling less than he or herself to get help. The most important help. So the emotional difficulties, there's behavioral problems, inconsistencies in discipline, overindulgence and all that. That's another thing that shows up. There's difficulty in relationship. And this one now is what we see, not just in relationship at platonic levels, but relationship at intimate levels. There's difficulty in relationship. Inability to trust. It's there. You are dealing with so you are having trauma-based relationships, if I should put it that way. where you are now bringing, I think Akinropo talked about that, you're now bringing everything from the past, the whole baggage, and dumping it and expecting that your partner who carries his or her own luggage should now become your savior. And when that doesn't happen, what is the outcome? It is now part of the Gaza Strip. Your home will now be the Gaza Strip, where bombs are thrown, frequently. There are health problems. Unfortunately, the men suffer this the most. The statistics that said women even contemplate suicide more, but men actually commit suicide most. And I was shocked when I was reading that. The men gets more high BP and all that. So there are health challenges. And if I should go on, it just goes on and on and on and on. But these little things now create a toxic environment in the home where the children will now become acids in the society wherever they find themselves. So they now become that very innocent suicide bomber that goes with the baggage that was laden on them by the parents or by the adults in the home. And when they express themselves, boom, it's chaos for the society. Some people are asking questions like, how did these children these days, did the children fall from heaven? Did we not permit a lot of things that happen? Did we not attack the things that are happening rather than address them? There's a difference between addressing an issue and attacking an issue. Did we not attack? You go on Twitter now, you see a lot of people, they come on with their blazing guns. You say a thing, nobody's even reasoning with you anymore. It's po. I wrote an article in 2013 where I said, very soon, and this is just about how many years? This is about 11 years later. Very soon, what will happen in this society is that we'll have people who are all waiting to gun down the last cow. And when the last cow is gunned down, the person who did may be the next cow. And it looked as though I was just writing gibberish, but that's what's happening today. Nobody wants to listen anymore. Why? Even when you're at home as a husband to wife, you guys are not talking to yourself. You're talking above yourselves and shouting. You're already teaching your children that nobody has anything sensible to say. So whenever they see anybody saying anything sensible, they shout at the person, and without even listening. We've lost the skill of active listening. So I want to talk about the consequences. We may talk a whole book full, but I'll say our current reality is a simple consequence of our inability to be responsible with ourselves as beings, manage our experiences by asking for help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, TJ. Guys, I want to believe that the time we have spent so far it's very valuable because a lot have been said. And we are saying that for every decision, don't worry, you're sitting on a time bomb because it will eventually boomerang. So fathers, we celebrate you. We appreciate you. We love you so much. But we want you to know that beyond trying to teach or treat mommy's fuck up, mind my Spanish, know that children have been affected.
Yeah.
Just as you were raised and you unconsciously soak in everything you saw about your parents, the same thing your children are soaking it in. Maybe that's what your wife is trying to tell you, but she's not using the right words.
Yeah.
To express. That's our fear. That's our anxiety. Please, 1 minute. I just want to plug my laptop. That's the concern. That's the pain she's feeling. That's what she's trying to guide against. She's probably not using the right method. And this is why we're saying, can we embrace marital checkup? Just like you go for checkups in the hospital. Can we embrace marital checkup? Very important. It's just to take you through the process. Check your liver, check your kidney, check your D, so that you don't have an illness. It's the same thing. Check your relationship, try to work on your beliefs again, your expectations, understand your personality, because as you grow, And that's what we don't take note. And that's what they don't teach when we're doing premarital counseling in our religious organization, to say that after 5 years, you're all growing. Something will change. Needs will change. Expectations will change. Instead of just going like that with it, we're growing. And so we need to check and just do a checkup on all those things. So say, let's sit and instead of just going with the anger, bitterness, and everything and everything and everything, and later you will now say we are not doing again when the children are already in their own homes. Do you know the kind of insecurity you have created for those children? We have a lot of adults. Our leaders that we are talking about, they were raised in a home. What did they see? Who raised them? Who raised these people? And Teajay asked one important question when he started, and that is, what is the role you're playing in this? I always, when I'm having conversations in my divorce community, I ask them, can you not talk about your partner? Can you talk about the role what did you contribute to the death of that marriage? What did you put into it? Can we face that instead of talking about the other person? So for the mothers in the house and for the fathers in the house, fathers especially, we're celebrating you. We love you so much. We love you so much. And yes, they always say, fathers or men don't want to come to meeting like this because you want to judge them, because you want to condemn them, because you want to abuse them, and so that's the reason why. Please just indulge me. I'm not abusing you. I'm sure you know that I love you, and I've been saying it. I'm not hiding it. I love you, fathers, and happy Father's Day, So to wrap up, Teajay, and I'm still looking forward to, if you have questions, please drop it in the chat box. I want to be sure Teajay has responded to Catherine's question, that question of, does it affect the love, marriage, and relationship? Of course, Teajay have responded to that. It's been passed down, and that's the baggage we're talking about, how it affects our love, our marriage, and our relationship generally. Teajay has responded to that because it's going to affect it. In fact, if you think you have the money and money will cover everything, by the time you are lonely, because you'll be lonely later in the future, and you don't want to, because that's when you need it. That's when you need a partner most. That's when you need your children. So it's definitely those transgenerational trauma definitely is going to affect everything. And can we nib it from your generation? Can you stop it? So that we'll stop saying it's generational cost, it's generational something. That's how their father too did. Oh, hey, it's the same thing. It's generation. It's somebody that is following them. Nobody is following us. So if only we know that nobody is following us. We just need to change our mindset, our belief system. Let's process it. Like Akinropo said, he said we should take ourselves through scrutiny and understand, to say, okay, this is me. I'm not my father. I'm not my mother. I want a good result. And you will do anything to ensure that you get that result. And that anything is being vulnerable, is seeking for help, right? Is asking for support, is sitting your wife down to say, Madam, can we stop fighting? Can we face it? You're growing, I'm growing. How long do we want to do this? Very important. Let's be vulnerable and let's face it. Right? So Teajay, father, the unsung hero, unspoken sacrifices. As we round up, I just want you to greet fathers and talk about the unsung fights and battles they are winning for us, so that we'll use that to sleep this night, so that daddies will not be sad. And the sacrifices. And mothers, I want you to start dropping in the chat box. I just want you to say something beautiful about your partner while Teajay is rounding up for us. Please drop something beautiful. The ladies in the house, you know how you quickly drop all those things when we started. Can you say beautiful things on the chat box about your partners? Beautiful things, please. Yes, Teajay.
I was hoping you called Akinropo first this time.
Go first.
No, I want you to respond to that question.
Oh wow, the unsung heroes. I just want to please all the women here. Maybe you may not have a reason to, but please, if you can, not if you can, I'm asking you to please. We don't do this because we can. We do it because we should. We do it because we ought to. We do it because we're intentional. We do it because of the result. Please give your husband a warm hug, give him a kiss, a beautiful kiss, and just tell him thank you. Men treasure these appreciation more than the million words that women love to hear. Just that little appreciation, just making him feel that he's amazing, making him feel that the little he has done is what saved the world. Men need that appreciation. The truth is, was it really worth it? Well, the question is, do you really deserve it? Remember, we're all coming from different places. So don't use your state to define another. So just appreciate him. And your ability to appreciate him is a stamp to the fact that you deserve more. Because the truth is, if you are more, you will always give more. So please, dear women in the house, I'm just speaking to the women first, please just do that. The more he ignores it, the more, in every man is a big baby. See my baby that came jumping on me. I am actually like him. He's trying to grow like me. I have grown and now I'm not like him. We may not show it, but we love it. We need it. We need that appreciation. We need that sense of respect. So please do that, But now speaking about the fathers and unsung heroes, the truth is, men are basically wired through experience to be more logical. So a lot of men, somebody jokingly said, why was Adam sleeping when Eve was created? So because if Adam was alive, he would have thought through the construction with God that woman would have been another man. So that was just on the light. God was like, Adam, you go and take rest. Because if you see the way I'm going to make Eve, you'll be more confused. And jokingly, someone says, since that day, the man's attempt to understand the woman has kept him more confused. That's just a joke anyway. But men try a lot by their minds are working 24/7. Their minds are trying to calculate balance and all that. That's why a woman most times might likely just do a thing. I know the place of temperaments and all that, but that's not what I'm talking about. A woman might just do a thing, but a man will want to think it 4 times through, with all the calculations and all that. He's the first to be afraid that to fear. Remember, we talked about where man is coming from as well. But the woman would just go with this faith and know that, oh, maybe. Fortunately, she even gets the favor. But a lot of men do a lot more work mentally. So, and when the mind of the man is overworked, it tells a lot. The heart of the true man seeks to support, seeks to supply, seeks to mentor, seeks to instill discipline, seeks to build a family and bond with the family. His mind is thinking through things. So as he sees evolution, his mind is trying to also balance the numerous reality, but in everything, statistically, if you go do your research, the man has a stronger influence in the life of the children than the woman does. Statistics showed us that. Sometimes I've been trying to also study to understand how my wife will say certain things 5 times, but I say it once and the children respond. So that also shows an increased burden on the man. So men try a lot. This is not me just saying, hey, men are the only heroes, but I think that men need to be celebrated, men need to be appreciated, and that's why I started by saying that. And the more you follow men, putting back as a Christian, I would also love to say this, there's this thing we say, that as the praises go up, the blessings come down. God inhabits the praise of his people. And then he created man in his image. What do you expect, man? So getting the best out of man, put him in that place. Like as we worship God, you do worship to him. Just blow his head. Create that banner. Tell your children, you guys should just do that. Hero of the Year award goes to the Father of the Year. Let him feel special. Let him feel that he matters the most. And trust me, you'll be so shocked the impact that will have on his man, on your man. So this is me celebrating all the men here for being strong, for being resilient, for being responsible, for being tough, for being disciplined, for being a role-worthy model worthy of emulation, for being an expression of God to your family and to the society at large. This is me celebrating you for the fights at night, for the fights, the mental battles, the traumas you've gone through, for being misunderstood by people at large, for being labeled as you're not. And for remaining in this place. And also joining or watching, whenever you're watching this is me celebrating you, saying, thank you. There's much more that we can do. There's much more you can become. And I look forward to celebrating you beyond now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We celebrate all the fathers in the house. Thank you for the little things you're doing. Thank you for the big things you're doing. Thank you for the sacrifices. Thank you for going all the way to ensure that the family is at peace, to ensure that everybody in the family is comfortable, even though we don't see it, even though we don't talk about it, or you just do it in your own way because you don't want to be judged. There are some people, because their partner will be like, what did you do? So man is doing more than that. So some men just decide to do their little things quietly. We see all that and we celebrate it. Please, if you think about the results you want to have, that should be your why. That should back you up to say, this is the reason why I'm doing this. And that result, part of it is your peace of mind at old age. Please don't let your now destroy your future. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Akinropo, Father, the unsung hero, unspoken sacrifices. I want you to talk to that briefly.
So thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. for bringing this topic again. And I must admit that Teajay really dealt with that topic, decisively. So let me just support, because in the last 2 months, I've had cases of two men. This is not about maybe didn't capture what really happened. The man who saw this invited me to come and mediate in this family tussle. What happened? The man is 62. The wife is 60. All the children, about 4 of them, I'm just sharing a case in point, one of the 2 cases now. All the 4 children, 3 are in the US, maybe US or UK, but 3 are outside Nigeria. Then 1 is in Nigeria. So about 8 years ago, when the children started giving birth, they started having grandchildren. The mother, started to travel around for Omugo. So from there, the woman felt the house where she and the husband, where they raised the children, was not good enough, conducive enough, not touch enough for her to return. She now approached the husband. The husband said, where do you want us to go? I cannot relocate to. The woman wanted to be in Lagos, close to the last child, right? The man said, no, if the last child too gives birth, you can still go. The woman insisted. So the woman now spoke to the children abroad, right? Those ones gathered money. They bought land. They built a house for the mom in Lagos. The man said, well, he will never move to Lagos For what now? At 62, he has a small pure water business. He's managing. Dr. Ebon, that was how another fracas started in the home. This is the man. This is not about, are you sure? Are you sure? I know. This is the man who sold many properties to send these children abroad. Meanwhile, the woman went ahead behind the man to go and tell the children that she was the one who sponsored them, that the man was just there, busy doing what he liked. This is how it happened. All the money, once this man got all the money, then he was giving the mother, because the mother was the one involved in their education, relocation, everything. So the man is just like, how much is the bill? $12,000, $7,000. Oh yeah, take. So the children developed that mindset against their dad. And the man was crying. So the man confided in a friend, in his friend who is 62. Is the friend who knows what I do, saw it on Facebook, and is an elderly friend also. That man too is around 62. Is that man now contacted that, what do you do in this case? And I just told the man that you are the one, because of the same age. You still need to get in touch with all the children. It was then the children now opened up to their daddy's friend that this is actually what happened, why they were doing this, that the woman never did anything. Meanwhile, by the time the man was doing this, the man had all the receipts. How the man was transferring the money, the man just kept them, not because of anything, just to be in the account. In case the man has showed it, and the man has showed the children that, how do you want to address this? So that is an example, a typical terrible example of father unsung hero. So I want to advise our mothers here, right? Please, if you know your husband has offended you, maybe when you were dating, or maybe at early stage, regardless of what this man has done, please let him know. Don't pay back at old age. I am begging every woman in the house. There is this saying that obìnrin ló lálẹ́, ìyá ló lálẹ́, that it is the mother who owns the evening of the marriage, the evening of the children. Please, if there is an opportunity for me to prostrate, I will prostrate. If your husband has offended you, maybe he was carrying babe girls around, and you're just saying that, keep doing it, I will show. Please don't show. Solve that problem early enough. I'm begging you. Don't pay your husband back at his old age. It is not good. It is not good. If your husband has offended you, I'm reiterating this again. Tell him, fight him, and invite elders. Let them solve it. Right? So that is what I want to say. Please, and every father listening, watching this, and they will still watch this, please. Learn to love your wife the same way you love your children. Please ask her, how does she want to be loved? Ask her if in any way you have offended her. Settle it. I want to see every man who are during their old age. Thank you, Dr. Ebu. Thank you, everybody who has sacrificed their time to be here today. TJ, I doff my heart for you for excellent submission you have done today. Thank you all.
It's been an amazing conversation, a very insightful. Thank you very much, TJ, Chunu, and Mr. Akinropo, Akinola. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying till this time. I really appreciate it. And if you agree with me that it's been an insightful one, I want to read in the chat box. Let me see you celebrate our guests. Let's say thank you to our guests. Thank you so much for this session. That is Oluwabumi. So guys, I want you to celebrate our guests. They have done justice to the topic, and I truly, truly appreciate you. This is why, you know, with the last illustration that Mr. Akinropo gave, all the stories, I tell people, don't just read stories, don't just listen to gist. Think about it, process it. There are examples for us. We don't have to have the experience. We can lean on the people who have had experiences and just use their experience to rewire and to repattern, recondition ourselves. So don't just go on social media to read all the stories or listen to the stories for gossip's sake. Honestly, we need to move away from that. We need to read or listen to these stories to learn and unlearn. You know, Mr. Akinropo said, I can prostrate for you. Please don't wait till old age. Because we have seen, we have heard, right? You can imagine that Yoruba adage that obìnrin ló lálẹ́. That's a belief that has run through the generations. To say that at the end of it, it is the woman that will enjoy the children. The man will not be seen. It's a belief. We need to disabuse it. Can we stop living, like I said, can we stop living our life based on some belief of some dead people who in their own time it was donkey. Now we use aeroplane. Now we use fuel, diesel vehicles, gas vehicles, right? To say we don't want to keep living our life in that way. We want to create our reality, and you can create the reality that you want for yourself in your marriage. Thank you once again, everyone. Thank you so much. It's past 9 p.m. I'm so sorry. We have pushed it beyond 9 p.m. and I appreciate it. Thank you, TJ, once again. Thank you, Mr. Akinropo. Looking forward to having you all at the next family meeting. That will be the July edition, where we're going to bring another important, beautiful, inspiring topic to you. The replay of this, admin, could you please drop the link to the replay? I want us to share. Please share with your families, share on your alumni group. You know, all this alumni WhatsApp group, all those groups that they used to drop all the stories. Can we share this on the group? Admin, please drop the link so that people can have the link. It's been recorded and currently zooming on YouTube so that you can share. Please go ahead if you believe and know that this has impacted you and you're also on this journey of saving our unborn generation, because this is what we're doing. We're trying to save our unborn generation from this transgeneration wahala, you know. So share this link with them. Thank you very much. With this, we come to the end of Family Meeting June edition. I look forward to having you in the July edition. TJ, love you forever.